day. And when I come in the door, where are you going to be?
Because otherwise he's going to be flooded by her,
Right.
and then you have
and there are times he would then
collusion or explosion.
drive past home and go work out at the gym because I'm having a rough day. Hell's bells. If you're having a rough day every day, you're the one with the addiction. But see, for her, it was always the husband's fault. And she would bring up the hard drive, the 3x5 file of everything he'd done the past 40 years, depending on the convenience. That's an addiction. That's being offended and not letting go. It's for that reason, just a little bit of a side note, he hates Christianity. He hates organized religion because in the name of God, in the name of Christianity, in the name of religion, she would cite scripture and verse how he should behave. And then this is her behavior. Mm-hmm. The hypocrisy of her judging him. Yeah. Well, isn't judging a sin? We are not in positions to judge other people, and that's where the immaculate perception stems from. I was judging you. I was judging your mother when I would do those things. I hated it when I did it. I loathed me, which then spiraled me down further into this man cave because I didn't know how the hell to get out. Yeah. How do you get out of a man cave? How do you admit that you're being a jerk? How do you get these drugs out of your bloody body so you can then function? And I've mentioned this once before, but another tipping point, we were in Highlands Parkway at the time. Mm-hmm. I'd frozen you for a good week or more.
Really?
I was
I'm always
I'm
like
throw things at Cheri. And I finally got myself out of it. And I walked up to you and said, hey, Cheri, I want to talk to you. I'm ready to talk to you now. I'm not angry at you anymore. And you go, oh, really? You were angry at me? And I'm thinking, back to my man cave. Here we go.
You wanted me to be miserable.
No, I wanted you to go, oh, Rich, I'm sorry. Let's talk about it. Damn you. Okay.
I have to say, being thick-skinned and oblivious, that's a good technique.
Okay, pre-existing conditions in a marriage. Here we go. We're gonna do another case study. This is between Russ. Do we have time? We do. Okay. Are you with me?
I am, but we're over here.
No, you're not with me.
No.
Get with me. No, here, page 11.
Yeah,
okay. So Russ.
Okay.
This is a Russ and Shanna story. Russ had been working outside all day performing acts of service for his bride. During one of his breaks, he came in the house, went to the restroom, washed his hands and face, and then went back outside. Russ and Shanna have been married for about 9 years, and she constantly reminds him to put the toilet seat down and to clean his hands with soap and water, not the towel.
So as they sat down to dinner, Shanna had a message for Russ. When will you ever remember to put the toilet seat down? Jeez, you know how frustrating that makes me. Roll the eyes.
Eyes roll.
Yeah. And please wash your hands with soap and water. The towel is designed to dry your hands, not clean them.
Constant animated hand gestures. Now, I'm not going to describe those yet. We're not going to name them. So have you ever had something like that? Have you ever been the one doing that, which means your immaculate perception's on overdrive? So let's gain perspective on what's going on with Shanna. And let's name her behavior. Dr. Siegel is fond of saying, if you can name it, you can tame it. Hang on a minute. Naming it is a function of using a descriptor for the behavior, but it's not to cast judgment.
So like when Shanna said, when will you ever put the toilet seat down? You know how frustrated that makes me. What are we calling that?
So we're going to go. Let's make sense of it, first of all. She wants Russ to put the toilet seat down, right? She wants him to wash his hands with soap and water, get them really clean in the COVID time frame, 20 seconds, and then stop wiping dirty hands on the clean towel. Now let's understand why. What's contextually going on in Shanna's life, which set up her immaculate perception.
So I would say, like, what's going on with why she says it the way she does, because...
What's her experience?
Communicating is one thing. Is it that she wants to be superior, right? Or, okay, she wants Russ to put the toilet seat down, right? But in her house, 4 girls and 1 boy, that was the rule. It's polite for boys to put the seat down after they go to the bathroom.
Everybody washes with soap and water and dries with the towel.
He needs to view this as being important as much as she does. That's an immaculate perception. That was the thing. I feel like that's her big thing.
And this part's really important. she's projecting her frustration onto Russ based on her past experiences and her current beliefs.
And could that be her frustration about a lot of things that aren't even Russ related? Yeah.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to name it. So number one, she's trying to get Russ to agree that she's right. That's called agreement seeking. Next, she's controlling. She wants Russ to do it her way.
She criticizes his behavior because it falls short of her expectation. Contempt because he's not doing it her way. She air leaks the shh and rolls her eyes. This is highly judgmental.
And by the way, just pay attention to that. When you roll eyes, when you're going shh, right, when your body language indicates it, you need to know that's contempt. Contempt is one of the four horsemen from Dr. Gottman. It's one of the worst things that you can do in a relationship.
And I'm just going to say, with COVID right now, and most states are in mandated face masks, there's a lot of contempt and judging spewing out in public right now. And I experienced some less yesterday in the airport and airplane. It was very interesting.
So we're bringing out the worst of people. There's some of the best of people, but I'm seeing a lot of worse.
But we're basically putting a hyper shame culture,
and
we're fueling it, and as if it's going to help.
So unsolicited criticism, judging, controlling, condescending, persuasion, she has to be right. These are addictions. They're behavior addictions. Therefore, Shanna is suffering from multiple false narratives or shadows. So if you were to ask her how her system of getting Russ to change is working, what would she say?
Well, she'd say, many times, so many, yet how many times she will repeat the behavior that hasn't worked for 9 years, fully expecting a different result. So she keeps doing the same thing, but is she really getting a different result?
So she tries harder by rolling more eyes.
She's doubling down. Can you start to see that this is insanity or that this is an addiction?
So we're going to cover a few things here, and we're going to wrap this up. Let me address the toilet seat, because I'm a man. I want to address this. This has been something I've heard for years and years and years. It's been quite perplexing.
I love we're breaking down now some gender expectations.
Yeah.
These are definitely male and female expectations.
So Russ was raised in a house of 3 boys by a widower father. He was taught that it takes as much effort for a man to lower the seat after he goes to the bathroom as it does for a woman to lower the seat to go to the bathroom. So, or to raise it, either way. The point, it doesn't make sense that the man's always wrong. So he didn't get that perspective. He was just taught that he's wrong by his wife. You know, if you do this enough, that's called gaslighting. That constant berating of someone's behavior without ever understanding their perspective is kind of interesting. We're going to actually end this way. I'm going to tell the story of the pillow, or of making the bed, just to bring this into conclusion. And so it'll make sense. So Cheri, you grew up in a home. Why did you always make the bed? Why was it important to you?
There's just something that feels really good about having a clean room and a bed. I'm sure it came from my mother. My mother was a domestic goddess. And so I felt good making my bed.
Okay.
I don't remember being explicitly taught, but I liked my room looking good.
And I grew up where half the time my bedroom was the downstairs with a mattress
on the floor.
We had pillows galore. We had blankets. We didn't really have sheets. And you just didn't make a bed because you'd mess it up playing football.
So my mom delighted in decorating our rooms with us. Color decor, curtains, pillows, wallpaper picked out. It was a process we did together because my mom loved home decorating.
So I grew up completely different. I grew up not making a bed. Didn't even understand why you needed to make it. You were sleeping in it again that night. Well, here's the story. I was teaching at the university. I was doing a guest lecture at Brigham Young University in an education week. I had 4 lectures instead of 5. It was Tuesday through Thursday the first year. And I had I told the story of the fact that you like to make the bed and you've got 13 pillows on our bed. And I had about 12 women get really angry at me. And
this was funny.
They were red in the face. They were so angry. And I just teased them for 3 days.
Yeah.
And just said, well, I'm going to sleep in the bed again that night. And they would start quoting statistics. 73% of people who make their bed feel better during the day. I said, all right, well, that then leaves, 27% who don't feel better. I must be one of the 27. That didn't go well. So I'm just having fun with it, but I can see that they're getting really worked up. So on the last day, I shared the following story. I said, you know, it's interesting. My wife has let me know that she loves the bed made, but my wife has never asked me to make the bed, unless, of course, someone was coming over. That's the only time she said, hey, could you make the bed? So-and-so is going to be here. Other than that, there was no expectation from Cheri that I would make the bed because it meant more to Cheri than it did to me. But the reality is, over the last 10 to 15 years, I've made the bed more than Cheri's made the bed. And when I said that, all the women looked at me in total shock. So I gave the following explanation. I said, ladies, if you're the one throwing elbows at the husband because you want him to make the bed, how much expectation and immaculate perception do you have? Cheri never demanded I make the bed, so I want to make the bed for her. She invited me to serve her. But if Cheri had guilt leveraged me, told me that I'm wrong or I'm bad or I'm worthless, that I have to make the bed, I would have no desire to make the bed for her, and I can guarantee you I would never make the bed for her. But because she invited me to do that,
well, I
I
know
wanted to.
And it was the invitation. I don't think came from even asking you to, other than the rare occasion. It was that you recognized it. You turned it into a love language.
Right.
You out of empathy were doing that, and I'd be like, wow.
And you thanked me every time I made the bed, right?
Yeah.
Well, guys, I got a lot of points this way.
Oh, yeah.
And that, no, I won't stop. I'll stop
We'll
there.
leave it there.
So, but the point being, it's very powerful when you invite, and you don't have to use words to invite. So let's leave it at this. What's the takeaway from today? And we're actually going to have to do one more segment because I want to really unzip.
So breaking down expectations A and B, if you know that somebody has their own personal expectations, and when you can, in a trusted relationship, you can develop something deeper based off of that and not turn it into a trigger flood situation.
Thank you. All right, guys, we'll talk to you in the next one. See you then.
Inside my head, I try to turn it down, but I can't quite drown it out. I'm tortured every day, these never-ending worries pulling on my sleeve.